Let's roll. Let's rock, baby. Come on. All right. Yeah. Let's go, baby. Let's roll, baby. Let's get this thing going one way or another. You guys know how this thing go. I told you, everybody, pump the brakes. Let's stop complaining. Let's get this thing going one way or another. Let's stay focused. Let's get this thing going. Let's stay focused. Let's get this thing going. I kept saying these same exact words. Repetition is right. Keep going to things. Shout out to Ernest Welch, man, for being the first person that's in the chat box over here, laying it down. Hey, it is what it is. Cowboys win. We put the W. We holding the W up. We holding it down like 400 pounds. We are the ones that are getting this thing going one way or another. I really appreciate you. Keon, thank you for joining in too as well. It is what it is. Everybody, when you're back up against the wall, all you got to do is continue to fight. Believe in what you believe in. Have faith, strong confidence and thoughts and things like that. Things would happen into your favor. Shout out to Jamal Anderson. Yes, we're live like 95. Howard Rogers, man, thank you for tuning in too as well. Raymond, Dez, thank you for tuning in too as well. Hey, we getting this thing going, man. I'm telling you all. Let's tune into what we're going to want to do here is don't forget to, before I tune into this other deal here, to like this page, subscribe to this page too as well. Do your deal out there. Help to grow the nation. But let's see what they talk about.
March it down the field. I think it was like 90 yards. So, I mean, yeah. That's Dallas Cowboys football right there.
Appreciate you, Zeke. Thank you.
All right, 17 carries, 78 yards, the touchdown for Zeke. He also had 5 receptions in this football game for only 9 yards. Yeah. Also, new kicker, Brett Maher. He had a pretty effective night after missing his only field goal attempt week 1. Brett Maher. And this particular evening, 2 for 2 on field goals, including a 37-yarder and 2 for 2 with extra points. So 8 total points for Maher, and Chris Arnold's able to catch up with Brett Maher, the Cowboys' new place kicker, in the locker room after the game.
Brett Maher, congratulations. You guys win the game. You got a couple of field goals. You got some extra points. How did it feel out there kicking for the first time in a regular season game at AT&T Stadium?
Hey, it was a lot of fun. Obviously, you know, the main objective every week is to come out here and get a win. I'm glad I could do my role and help us get that done.
Brett Maher, now Dak Prescott.
Plays, running a few of these plays, and we're able to have some success with them.
Talk about Tavon Austin.
Yeah, I mean, he had a great night. We knew we were going to go at him early. That was the plan. So, I mean, coming off of that play action, he just won clean. I mean, he took the inside release and put his head down and dug, and then I was just able to get the ball out there. He just made my job easy there and showed off his speed. And then once again in the reverse, come back late in the game. He was just all around the field making plays everywhere.
Against the Giants defense, that was the plan, to come out early and aggressive.
There you go.
Yeah, I mean, we just wanted to be the aggressors. We wanted to set the tone in the run game and the passing game and make them try to defend what we were doing. And it's not us going into the game trying to call our offense off of what they're doing on defense rather than us be the aggressors, and we did it.
You guys play at such a high level. Is there anything that challenge accepted can actually do, or is that just, do we make more out of that than really is?
I mean, we definitely hear that, and I kind of said the challenge accepted. I said I accepted it, but I can tell you I wasn't the only one who accepted that challenge. This team accepted it. That offense accepted it, and we wanted to go out there and just show these guys.
Yeah.
What's the difference in the first game and the second game in terms of execution?
Say again, sorry.
The difference in the first game and the second game in terms of offensive execution and success?
Yeah, I mean, we executed the plays tonight. Simple as that. I was able to throw the ball better, much better than I did last game. So, I mean, it just came down to that. We protected better. Overall, ran the ball better. It was just a much cleaner game in our execution.
Do you feel like this will maybe send word to some of the fans and quell the negativity you heard last week?
I didn't hear any of it.
Oh, come on, Dak. You know you heard some of it.
What's it like to watch the defense, especially the pressure they got on Eli and the electricity they provided tonight?
Yeah, the defense is good. These last 2 weeks, everything that they've done, getting to the quarterback, keeping the number of points the opposing offense scores down. Know we're going to have a lot of success going forward. They continue to do that. Proud of them.
They went against that defense every day, obviously, in Oxnard. Did you get the sense that they could do this?
Yeah, I definitely got the sense, and it wasn't necessarily always fun. Going against this defense in Oxnard, as you said, there's some days that weren't pretty. I'm sure y'all saw it, and they kind of dominated the practices, and then we'd go back at them, and it was back and forth. And we knew we were going to have a good defense, and it was going to only make our offense better.
Yeah.
6 sacks tonight of Eli Manning. That was huge.
6.
Yeah, it was great. I mean, giving them credit. As I said, they got after me in training camp, knew they'd get after the opposing quarterback, and they definitely did.
How important was that drive, the touchdown drive, just eating up the yards, eating up the...
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, just, rushing in here to make y'all happy. You sweat.
How important was that drive?
It was big. I mean, obviously, they came off that field, got that field goal. We went back out there on offense, backed up and kind of stalled. So then when we got the ball back, it was important for us to go out there and get a touchdown and not just a field goal. And that was a huge drive, making some big-time plays. Receivers getting open, offensive line protecting. That was huge.
You ran more. I guess you had a career-high rushing yards tonight. Can you just talk about that and the mentality when you ran? It seemed like you was trying to break tackles. You weren't just trying to settle for the first down.
Yeah, I mean, we knew this defense was going to give us that. They were going to give us the option for the quarterback to run. So coming into this week, that was the plan. And I knew I'm a bigger guy. I was going to challenge some of those defenders, those DBs, to make tackles.
You were aggressive and didn't do any sliding. I mean, you just kept charging right into them every time you ran tonight.
Like I said, I mean, those guys are DBs. Size-wise, they're a little bit smaller, so I wanted to try to make them make tackles, and that was important, not to just go down.
How emotional was Tavon on that touchdown throw?
Yeah, Tavon's an emotional guy all the time. That's what makes him Tavon. That's what makes him a fiery guy, the explosive guy he is, the playmaker that he is. So that was big. That was huge for him to go out to have the game that he had tonight, but definitely to start it off as early as he did.
You said you knew that the defense was going to give you the opportunities to be able to run. With their other elements you guys felt like you could add this week because of things you saw? Did you guys open up the playbook more?
I mean, I don't know if we say we open the playbook more, but yeah, I mean, that's kind of the whole point of game plan. And we knew there were some things that we wanted to attack, and I feel like we did that.
Talk about the 2 lengthy drives that you had, pulling time off the clock and keeping the ball out of the Giants' hands.
Yeah, that was huge. As I said, I mean, they got that field goal, so it was important for us to go and not only get field goals, but to get a touchdown. I mean, that one right there at the end in particular. So it was huge. Our defense came out that second half, got us that ball. We were able to get that field goal, and after that, we stalled a couple of times. So when we got that ball back and able to have that lengthy drive, take a bunch of time off the clock, go up a couple of touchdowns, it was almost icing it there and putting the game in the defensive hand just to keep them off the board.
Was it the plan that was different or the execution that was different from this week to last week?
Yeah, definitely the execution. Start with the execution. We executed a lot better than we did last week, but to say the plan as well. I mean, there's some things in the plan that we changed up that we wanted to attack. We wanted to spread them out, run the ball from the spread a little bit more from the gun, and we're able to do that. But we executed better. Bottom line.
You said this week challenge accepted. How much motivation was that? The whole stuff during the week and questions about.
Yeah, I mean, I don't really. I mean, as I said earlier, I mean, I don't really. That's not that big of a deal to me, but I know I wasn't the only one that heard that. And what I kind of said is, I know I wasn't. When I said challenge accepted, it wasn't just me accepting that challenge. It was this offense. It was this team. And after that win, just hearing what some of the guys were saying, I know that they heard that message too, and they're happy we were able to come out and do what we did.
When someone says that about a starting quarterback in the NFL, that they want to put it in your hands, how much do you consider that to be disrespectful as a competitor?
Yeah, I mean,
don't bite the bait.
I mean, it's the game of football. You got to put it in somebody's hands. I mean, when you have a great run game like we do and a great running back, and as you saw what they did tonight, and what we've done for 2 years running the ball, to me it's kind of obvious.
Did you consider it disrespectful?
I don't really pay attention to it like that. I don't put that much thought into it as you guys do.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Dak. Congratulations.
Yeah.
It's Dak Prescott on the Dallas Cowboys radio network, basically saying that Landon.
Hey, man. Hey, that's what it is, man. Dak Prescott, he did everything we wanted him to do in that interview. And then on top of that, still adding fuel to his own fire and his desire to be ready for the next week. And I'm telling you, like I said, we play a similar quarterback next week, right? Then we play the following week. The guy that can squirt out to the edge, and I think we should have some more reinforcement coming in. I think number 94 will be able to play. So we had 6 sacks. That's cool. That's fine and dandy, right? So with that being said, for everybody who out there saying that, okay, this quarterback is this and this quarterback is that, there's something about a guy that is willing to stand firm, stand tall, and take the challenge accepted. That's everything right there. It speaks volumes of this quarterback, guys. It does. And I don't know what you guys are thinking, but this Dak Prescott, he's something special. Now, I do know for sure this score could have been easily 20-3. The score could have been easily maybe 31-3 if we get some plays and balls to bounce our way the right way. It was only one flare that I saw out there. It was 3rd and inches, and they decided to run a sweep play or bounce the ball to the outside, and it was a hold on Lyle. And I was like, what are you doing? You got the quarterback, 3rd and inches, you sneak the ball in, you get the first down. But outside of that, guys, I think that the coaching staff, they called a great game. It was one of those things that they utilized Tavon Austin on the outside, flex motion on the inside. We saw a lot of plays with number 11 too as well, creating space and finding space in the zone. So let's tune back in. We're listening in to 105.3 The Fan. That's the post game with Ari Temkin and also Jesse Holly. Let's see what they got over here.
Largest collision repair company.
They got a commercial going on. So after the commercial, we'll tune back in. Russell Wilson, now, this is the thing. This is a home game or away game. Anybody know? Because I haven't really looked at the schedule. So let me know in the chat box, because that's going to speak volumes to us. Whether it's a home game or away game. Let me know. Help me out. Help a brother out, because I don't have time to go all the way around. You know what I mean? So this is going to speak what type of play we should have and this sort of thing. Thank you for tuning in, Brian Rollins. Rico will be in the mix more. I think Rico had an opportunity to catch the ball. It bounced off his hands. He's going to get this away game. We got to go up there. Okay, so it's going to be another tight game, guys. It's going to be a real tight game. We got to establish the run. I really didn't like the overall game of Ezekiel. It was okay. Getting the dirty yards, getting the big explosive plays. But there were some plays that I saw from Ezekiel that he bounced and he could have stayed inside, or he's still getting his playing legs up under him. He didn't play at all during preseason. If he did, he had like, 3 or 4 snaps. And that's not what you can get out for real life, right? So it's a away game, yeah. So we're going to have to really step it up next week. We can't play around with it. I always say Eli Manning liked to give the ball away. We saw that all of the vertical routes that was taken down the field, as far as the Eli Mannings of the world against us, there was one play, number 12. He was able to catch a lucky pass out to the edge, and Tito was just this close. And we know and we understand that football is a game of inches. And like I said before, Russell Wilson, he's going to be able to move out of the pocket. He's going to be able to find those wide receivers. And I think that he's not going to be so gung-ho and just dinking and dunking the ball off to number 26, because they don't have a number 26. But number 26 is nice. Saquon Barkley is going to be around in this league for a long time if he can stay healthy. And he's one of those guys, explosive. He would just... Sean Lee feel like his hands are made out of parquet butter. I don't know the injury, whether or not Sean Lee is still injured or what have you, but he was bouncing off the body like he's the basketball. So we will see next week. I like the fact that when LVE did came in, he was making tackles. When he hit you, you fell down. He was none of that bouncing off the body type of stuff. So we got a lot of film to look at on LVE. We got a lot of film to look at on number 30, because we have yet to see Jordan Lewis out there. So there was some plays that I saw number 30 got his head around. It looks like he got his confidence back. So we will. Shout out to Byron Bradford. Thank you for tuning in. Jamel Davis. I'm going to shoot you guys out a highlight, man. Thank y'all, man, for tuning in. Help growing the nation, smashing the like button, sharing this content. Let's tune back in to 105.3 The Fan. Let's see what they got. Let's see, 105.3 The Fan.
For the defense, and they held the Giants' vaunted rushing attack with the 2nd overall pick, Saquon Barkley, to just 17 carries for 35 yards. I mean, this is a dominant defense, Jesse.
Ari, you and I talked about this, about an attitude. We talked about how, and we referenced Aaron Rodgers, right? About how no matter what the situation is with Aaron Rodgers, he feels as if he can win it for his team. Now, that type of energy is contagious. And what you see now with this defensive front is you see a bunch of guys who have a huge you see a bunch of guys who have an attitude, and it's contagious. And it starts with their leader, Tank, and it goes on to Crawford and to Taco and to Jalen. And so now what you have is they walk into this thing not feeling like a liability, but more of an asset. And it matriculates all across that defensive side of the ball. And the good defenses, they have that kind of attitude. When you watch the Lees and the Boom, when you watch the great Ravens defense, when you watch defenses like that, now I'm not saying that they're that. I'm not saying that they're that elite level.
But those are the things that make them
the
great.
attitude.
Yes.
And you see that now. Maybe a lot of it's attributed to Chris Richard and his, his presence being sprinkled all over the team.
Is he calling the plays on defense?
I don't know who's calling them, but they've been more aggressive. They've been more aggressive. You see more package where they're disguising things. They're bringing some They're bringing some heat. They look like they're bringing some heat. They're bringing some things back.
Yes.
But the attitude, Ari, the overall attitude of this defense has changed. And these guys are walking into this thing with their chest out, and they're the hot boys, and they're having fun, and it's showing. You know what I'm saying? It's showing. It's not like, hey, we're just going to talk a good game and hopefully no one notices that we're not that good. No. They're saying we're talking and we're walking what we're saying. And that right there is huge for this team, because this offense, honestly, isn't going to wow anybody. I looked at the numbers from Dak this week and last week. They look very similar.
Yeah.
But this defense, man, they're getting after the quarterback, and they have a sense of pride that is just oozing all over this football team.
Yeah, we'll get into Dak's numbers in a little bit, but you want to talk about aggressiveness. So 3 of their 6 sacks came from their defensive line. Antoine Woods, DeMarcus Lawrence, and Tyrone Crawford each had a sack apiece, as did Taco Charlton, I beg your pardon. So 4 of their 6. But 2 others came. Kayvon Frazier had one, and Damian Wilson had a strip sack.
There you go.
So, and Antoine Woods' sack was basically caused by Eli being forced to step up in the pocket because of Sean Lee, that he came free. And Antoine just fell into Antoine Woods' lap. So that's, this is an aggressive defense. They are getting after the quarterback with their 7, with their front 7. They're bringing extra guys. This isn't the typical Rob Marinelli style of rush 4, get home with 4 that we've seen. And, you're right. They're playing with a confidence and a swagger, and this isn't new. It's I've often said, Judge, it can be an anomaly if it happens once or twice. You judge an NFL season based on quarters, 4 games, but at this point it's just 2 games, but it's all the preseason, the whole, the whole training camp. This is.
Let me slow them down just a little bit. As far as clarity on the offense, this is the thing with the offense. We saw the defense. They played majority of the preseason, whether or not they was rotating, but majority of the guys that's on the defense, minus the Sean Lees of the world, they played. And the defense is the easier thing to do because they're just reacting to what's going out there. So this is the thing. If you look at the offense, it may take around week 4, week 5 for this offense to gel together because these group of wide receivers didn't work out together. So I'm looking at more plays that we saw pulled out of this guy Leonard Hand's bag of tricks. So the offense is going to be okay. It's just that we will still have to lean on this defense coming to the next 2-3 games. And hopefully the Lions still are stagnant, and hopefully the Seattle Seahawks are, Seattle Seahawks next week. But hopefully we can figure out a way. Special teams, big plays like what Tavon Austin did can open up the entire defense. Because if the defense plays with a lead like we did today, we see these type of things. But let's go and listen back to them.
In my mind, some critical plays for us.
Jerry Jones.
But really thought that we just played with a lot of energy. That defense was out there. We had pretty much a lot of the same guys out there quite a bit, and at one time they had quite an edge on us on time of possession, enough to start you worrying about the defense. We're in good shape. We carried right on, and we're able to play well in the fourth quarter.
To the offense, to the layman, it looked like the offense was more creative. Did you see the same thing? And after last week, did you want the same thing?
Well, I saw one thing. Yeah, well, first of all, I'm very pleased with how we were, very pleased with how Dak played. He made the big plays. He gave their defense something to think about in many ways. I saw, though, the thing that hurt us last week happen to us when we got those penalties there in the start of that third drive before we had our long drive. And that'll do that to you. I think we talked about that the week before. Those penalties killed us in those early possessions. But in generally, I thought we always respect the Giants. We respect Eli Manning, and so this was a very important win for us.
That's Jerry Jones on the Dallas Cowboys radio network. The Cowboys 20-13 winners over the New York Giants. Your phone calls, your texts, your thoughts, 877-881-1053 if you want to get in on the post-game show. Let's hear from Palmer. Palmer's calling in from Georgia. Go ahead, Palmer. You're on the Dallas Cowboys radio network.
Hey, gentlemen, I appreciate all y'all do, man. It's a good win for the Cowboys. I was born in Dallas, grew up in Tyler and Austin, stuck here in South Georgia. I got a couple of observations. Last week, I listen to y'all all the time. I listen to Sham on the call when I watch it live, and I listen to all the DallasCowboys.com stuff. Jesse, I like how you bring it on Cover 4. I appreciate it.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much.
But, gentlemen, let me tell you something. I saw some things in this game that were fixed from last week, and that gives me hope as a Cowboys fan. I'm all for Chris Richard being the defensive coordinator next year. And then also that last 8-minute drive, I finally saw Ezekiel Elliott on those last two runs. He kind of got his feet underneath him.
There you go.
Last week and earlier in this game, he would always stumble, or it just didn't seem like, Jesse, you can talk to this more than I can, but it just, from an observer, it just looked like he just couldn't get his feet under him. And you know what? This season's like a crescendo in a play. I'd rather get hot in week 8 or 9 than week 2. And I just thought there's a lot of stuff to clean up.
Appreciate the phone call, Palmer.
Yeah.
Zeke Elliott, by the way, there might be something to what he's saying. He had his first 14 carries went for 51 yards, but he ends up with 17 carries for 78. So, I mean, you talk about 14 carries for 51, and then his next 3 for basically 27 yards. He finished off that early fourth quarter drive, the 8-minute drive, took a lot of time off the clock, and that was,
there you go.
Like, the Cowboys are built to win games like that.
Yes. Well, with this offense, this is to use boxing terms,
use my
this
analogy.
is a body blow offense.
Yes.
Okay. This isn't a. We saw
64-yard touchdown pass to Tavon Austin type of offense.
This is that's not it.
Yes.
Like
The
you need that because it backs him off a little bit. Like, that's the Tyson punch.
Yes.
This isn't a Tyson punch offense.
Great call.
This is a body punching offense, and what I mean by that is if you know anything about boxing, the body blows, it wears you down over rounds, and then what happens is when you get into those later rounds, you're just so worn out. The kidneys are beat up, the lungs are hurting, the ribs are hurting, and then he just drops you with a good body shot. And that's what this team is. And Zeke is a body blow type of runner. Now, he has game-breaking speed, but he also has the ability to get 3 yards here, 4 yards here. Okay, bust off a 19-yard. Okay, come back for another 4-yard run. And when they have those 8 and 9 and 10-play drives at points and times in the game, especially late in the game, those are the blows when the defense is just worn out. They're gassed. They've been leaned on all game long. And like Dak said in the presser, he talked about this team being the aggressor. When you're the aggressor, you deliver the blows. And late in the fourth quarter, that's when Cowboy teams knock you out, when they have that 8-10-play drive and just finish you off because you have nothing left.
But to your point earlier, that's the reason you give him more than 17 carries, because if you're a body blow type team, your success on offense is predicated on long sustained drives. 17 carries isn't enough.
No,
it was 15 last week, and everybody was complaining all week it's not enough carries. He only had 2 more carries tonight.
There's a difference in the matter of the carries, though. They needed more aggressive focus on this particular drive. They drove the ball up the middle of the field. 2 more carries means that's a massive difference, especially in the flow of the game. Just like Stephen Jones or Jerry Jones just said, that the Giants won the time of possession. So I believe that if we had the ball more, then we would have saw some more carries with Ezekiel Elliott. But here's the thing. This is the main thing that they're missing out, the RPOs. When you do the RPO, the run pass option, when Ezekiel Elliott is lined up in that backfield, although it doesn't count as a carry for Ezekiel Elliott, the opposition, the mind of the Giants, they thinking that the Dallas Cowboys is trying to run this ball, but if we saw Dak Prescott said, no, not today, and he runs off with the ball, that position, that possession right there of the ball, of Ezekiel Elliott, attempting to look like he's holding the ball and running the ball, and Dak Prescott get 15, 20 yards off of that play, speaks volumes. And the only way you can trick the defense to doing that, unless you're successful in some forms or some fashion with Ezekiel Elliott. And those 5 or 6 creases that he had got on those small plays and those small drives meant the world. So that's what happened off of that drive. That's why he only had 17 carries. But if you add in the time that the RPOs were implemented on that particular drive, you will see that if you add those in together, it would have been like 20 to 22, 23 carries to go to
RE Sports, ARI Sports are at Mr. 4th and Long. Let's go back to the phones. Anthony is calling in from Dallas at 877-881-1053. Go ahead, Anthony. You're on the Dallas Cowboys Radio Network.
Hey, guys. Speaking of what you were just talking about with Dak's numbers and everything, it kind of brings in my question. Would you see any comparisons between the way the Cowboys are building their team to the way the Jacksonville Jaguars do it, where it's defense and they have Blake Bortles where we have Dak?
Appreciate the phone call, Anthony.
Here's the thing.
Defense and running game. That's basically what he's alluding to.
I think Jacksonville is built a little bit different than us. Yeah. Right? They have the Jimmies and Joes on Jacksonville are a little bit different than ours. They have a legitimately shut down corner in Jalen Ramsey. They have a really good other corner, which is probably if Bouye came to our team, he would be the number 1 corner on our team.
Yep.
If Jalen came to our team, he'd be the best player on our defense. So they have 2 guys on the outside who are legit, big time corners, and Jalen Ramsey maybe being one of the best. And then what they have up front, and Fowler and Calais Campbell and guys like that across.
Yeah.
They got some guys up there, and then you got Barry Church in the back end.
But the Cowboys are better on offense.
They are. They have a better quarterback.
Yeah. I love how we're both like,
who
has better receivers? The running game for the Cowboys is better, but Fournette's really good.
I like D.D. Westbrook.
If you took Blake Bortles out of Jacksonville and stuck somebody, if you took Blake Bortles out of Jacksonville and even stuck a Dak Prescott in there, they're a much better team. Blake Bortles holds that team back, but this defense is setting up to be one of those defenses when you look at it at the end of the year that go, man, they could help this team. They will help the team win a lot of football games, but you just need a little bit more on offense to get it done.
877-881-1053. Carlos is calling in from Denton. Go ahead, Carlos. You're on the Dallas Cowboys Radio Network.
Hey, what's going on, guys? I just have 2 quick things to say. Like they just said in the radio, I think this win doesn't show us anything about the Cowboys. I think there were some things that we did right, but not as much as we wanted to. There's still the same troubles that we had with the Carolina Panthers. I mean, we do have a good defense, but like we're saying, it's not the offense that we wanted. And also another thing, Ezekiel Elliott, I do believe he's a body puncher, like I said in boxing terms. But we also have a quarterback that is not a Mike Tyson. He's also a body puncher. So how are we going to have a great defense that takes us to a Super Bowl if we don't have that Mike Tyson quarterback or that Mike Tyson running back that just brings us to another level?
Appreciate the phone call, Carlos. It's a long season. They're going to evolve, especially on offense. Their defense is ahead of their offense right now.
It is. And you have that combination in Zeke Elliott. You have the body punching ability in Zeke Elliott, but you also have the home run ability in him as well. And we've seen that on many different occasions in his time here in Dallas, where if he gets a seam and he gets in the open field, good luck trying to catch him. That's track speed that he has there.
The most positive thing, though, after 2 weeks, the Cowboys defense has given up 29 points. It's an average of 14.5 points per game, which is a really, really good number when you look at the offenses of the National Football League. Along with former Dallas Cowboy Jesse Holley, I'm Ari Temkin. This is the Dallas Cowboys postgame show. Your texts, your phone calls, 877-881-1053, plus Chidobe Awuzie and plenty others from the locker room, all on the way. You're listening to the Dallas Cowboys Radio Network.
All right, so as they go on to a commercial break, I can take over for a quick second, right? I love the analogy. And I gave it last week of Ali, his whole theory with the rope-a-dope. And I'm not trying to speak beyond my mind or my head and saying, okay, they're using the boxing analogy. But this is the thing. When you the thing was when Ali used that body blows and he let the rope, that's why you get the rope-a-dope, he was letting the guy hit him in his body and he would absorb, he'll bounce off the rope and he would lean to you and say, hey, you hit like a baby. And bam, bam, he get hit. He said, hey, you hit like a sissy. And then what he was saying, and Ali had an interview that as the guys continued to punch him, he felt those blows getting softer and softer. And that's when he knew for sure that he can attack. Now, the reason why I say this is we got Tyron Smith. He's a bad brother. We got Connor Williams, although a lot of people want to move him to right tackle. I seen him get off on a kick-out block, and he did a good job. We're going to break down that film with my guy, Vacha Lombardi, down the line. So you got that guy. He's going to lean on you. Although Joe Looney, and granted, he's not a Travis, but you still have next to Joe, you have Martin, and then La'el Collins. I think La'el, he's a slow starter because he's holding, he's doing all type of crazy stuff out there, but he still played a solid game collectively. And I think that what this offensive line does better than any other team out there is that it's so efficient, with their mass and their body weight, and they can lean on you. And then you add in and you sprinkle in Ezekiel Elliott, and you sprinkle in what number 45 can do, and you add in the run pass option. OMG. So the haymaker, the hit that you're not going to see, the quick jab or the hook, would be the Tavon Austin. We punched the Giants in the face off the gate. Number 21 couldn't get to the side, and Tavon Austin wearing it on in. And I told everybody, there's something about speed. You cannot coach that. There's something that you just can't be prepared for unless you're just going to have your safeties way back out on the field. And guess what that does to Ezekiel Elliott? And I hear stories and news. I don't know whether or not it's true. Is Bryce Butler coming back? He is a 4-3 guy too as well, and he does have some type of a rapport and continuity with Dak Prescott. So we're going to see how this thing can rumble together. I really like what the Cowboys is doing. I think that once everything comes into play, I'm not saying that Bryce Butler, the guy, can walk on water. I'm not saying that he's the greatest wide receiver of all time for the Cowboys. But what I'm saying is that it's something about that rapport and continuity, and then you add in the fact that with Dak Prescott, he's getting that pace together with his team, the understanding with his team. They building this thing called chemistry as we go, because we all know that they didn't play during preseason. Let's see if they're back on from the commercial break. I really appreciate everybody for tuning in. Don't forget to like this page, subscribe to this page, and share.
.org/I promise.
Yeah, they're still on a commercial break. So yeah, defense is crazy. Yes, I'm gonna just give a quick shout out. Don't forget, guys, tell me where you guys are from. Let me know where you're watching it from too as well, whether or not you're in Ohio, whether or not you're in California, or whether or not you're in the UK, Canada, stuff like that. Dak and Thompson are developing some chemistry. Yeah, I saw that, Kevin. Yeah, they are. Dak to Thompson. I like Allen Hurns. He shows up and he disappears. I like the aspect of Dak in number 11, Cole Beasley. I see that out there. Cole Beasley, he caught some third down passes. I said, I thought he didn't even catch it, but he caught it. That's all that count. I still think that Dak is trying to develop some type of chemistry with the tight ends, and we have yet to see that nice special play with that. I saw one play that I was really at the edge of my seat when big number 80. The guy Rico, the ball bounced off his hand a little bit, but It's going to come together. El Paso in the house. Thank you, man. Junkyard Dog. That's what I'm talking about. Wiggle Bell, South Carolina. Hope your family's okay out there.
It isn't a one-man sack show.
Yeah.
This is a collective unit where guys are getting in.
Yeah.
And this becomes really interesting because what happens is now you start having these competitions. And then guys start going, oh, man, how many you got? You got 2? I got 1. I was close on this one, but I got a fumble. And so now these guys start coming into the game, and they're having fun. They're competing. They're having fun, and that's the important part when you start looking at these numbers. And that it's not a one-man show. It's not like, yes, we think and we know that Tank is the elite guy in this unit, but you see the other guys now pulling their weight. You see Taco showing up. You see Crawford showing up. Woods showing up. You're seeing all these guys showing up. Oh, and by the way, you didn't have Randy Gregory night. Oh, and by the way, you get David Irvin back in, 2 games? So now you add more to this rotation. Guys are going to be fresh. Guys are going to be hungry because when you get into – because now there's a rotation. So I might not be – well, I might have had 40 snaps before. Now when Randy and David Irvin comes back, now I go down to maybe 25 snaps. So I got to be really hungry to get these snaps. Also, we hear Rotman say all the time, I only got a certain amount of jerseys I can play every week. Think about how practice is going to be. Yeah. When those guys looking around, they're going, I want a jersey too. I want to play on Sunday too. So now what you create is you create competition amongst the line and you create competition amongst the offensive line because the line knows these guys are going hard to try to get a spot in the 46 on Sunday. So now Joe Looney game steps up.
There you go.
Connor Williams game steps up.
Yeah.
Lyle Collins game steps up because now they're going up against a pass rush that is competing amongst themselves to go out there to be a part of the number.
The Cowboys defense with 6 sacks tonight. The Cowboys offense gave up 0 sacks. This a week after giving up 6 sacks. We talked about it all week. Mickey Spagnola wrote about it on DallasCowboys.com before the game. Dak under duress versus Dak with a clean pocket is a different quarterback. And even though the passing numbers tonight don't necessarily reflect that, he actually had more yards in week 1, 170, than he did tonight, 160. But it's the effectiveness of the downfield passing attack, Tavon Austin. It seemed like a more consistent passing attack. Again, Dak Prescott had 170 yards in week 1 passing, 160 this week. He added 45 yards to the ground, but it just seemed like a more effective aerial attack for the Dallas Cowboys. Earlier this evening, Mike Fisher was able to catch up with one of the members of that dominant defense, Sean Lee, and here's what he had to say.
Come on, let's listen.
With Sean Lee after a Cowboy home win over the Giants, there's a lot of talk before the game about, we're going to rattle Eli, we're going to go get Eli, but you have to defend him with respect, right?
Absolutely. I mean, 2-time Super Bowl champion, Hall of Fame quarterback, guy that's really tough to play against. He's had an unbelievable career. You know that he can make big plays. He has a ton of weapons around him to make the plays, and so you have to find a way to get to him and get pressure on him. And our D-line did an incredible job, and we had some blitzes that were dialed up by the coaches that were great also.
Yeah, it was the blitzing stuff. And I asked Damian Wilson this. He said, it's the same stuff we always do. We do it better. But is it the same, a similar chapter from any other week?
Yeah, I mean, I think the coaches have a great game plan week in and week out on how to, dial up pressure different ways and then also use our incredible defensive line at certain times, let them loose, and they were unbelievable getting pressure.
You missed a little time with what? Is it a tightness?
Yeah, just some just cramping. So I think it was more just precautionary. We were up, and so like I said, we got a great group of linebackers who can make plays. So the rotation was good and keeping everybody fresh, and so that's the plan going forward.
Okay, you're not going to brag on this, but historically, when this team doesn't have Sean Lee on its defense, it struggles. Tonight, Leighton Vander Esch and Jalen Smith and company, they held up.
And Joe, and yeah, that's the whole point. We have a very deep room of linebackers who prepare the right way, are very athletic, and it's fun playing with them and getting guys in there who are fresh and letting all of us play is the plan. So going forward, I'm excited about that.
Yeah. That's Sean Lee along with Mike Fisher right here on the Dallas Cowboys Radio Network. Cowboys win 20-13 over the New York Giants at AT&T Stadium tonight. And Jesse, it's funny. He just touched on the depth they have at the linebacker position, which brings up their first-round pick, 19th overall, Leighton Vander Esch. Had 7 total tackles tonight.
Good.
Probably saw more snaps, But you asked this before the season started. If Leighton Vander Esch isn't performing in the same way that Taco Charlton didn't really last year, will he get criticized? And look, 7 tackles tonight. He was more active, Leighton Vander Esch, but no splash plays, no tackles for loss, or no sacks. But it's interesting because it seems like that flies way under the radar a little bit relative to Taco Charlton because their defense wasn't as good last year. It was in need of more sacks. So it was almost as if the play of the rest of the defense is sort of overshadowing a guy like Leighton Vander Esch, the 19th overall pick.
I think even the growth of Jalen Smith, I think we're so happy about how well he's playing. I think we're so happy that Sean Lee is relatively healthy. So he's kind of almost been masked a little bit, kind of almost been a little bit overshadowed because of the success of other people around him. With Taco, we were in such a need for another pass rusher,
right?
That when Taco came to us, we thought he was going to be the next coming of DeMarcus Ware or Charles Haley or someone like that.
Or DeMarcus Lawrence.
DeMarcus Lawrence. And then when it didn't happen, people were calling for his head. Again, when you're winning, when you're having a success, or when you're having a series of success on your side of the ball or in your group, things kind of get swept under the table. Last year, when Taco came on, this defense wasn't playing well. They were the liability of this team, especially when Sean Lee went out. And so when that happens, now they're looking for guys to do something, and you're not the guy that they thought you would be, boy, they start shooting those guns at you.
That's Jesse Holley. I'm Ari Temkin. Coming up next, we'll visit with Brad Sham on Brad Sham Day. The Cowboys win 20-13. We'll talk with the voice of the Dallas Cowboys, Brad Sham, next. Dallas Cowboys football will continue in a moment.
Yeah, the legend. I can't wait to hear Brad, man. Hopefully I can jump back in before everything, hope I don't miss his segment there. Thank you everybody for tuning in, man. That is just fantastic, man. I just love to hear this day. LVE. When they put him in the game, I said, okay, where's Sean Lee? And I said, oh man, we're gonna look sloppy without Sean Lee out there. And LVE, he stood up and stepped up and he flew out to the ball, and when he hit you, you felt it. The guy fell down. It wasn't like when he hit you, he spun off the guy and kept moving and stuff like that. So I like what I saw out of LVE play. And now I have more tape to look over LVE. And I can't wait to do those film breakdowns and see, how he was moving. I think he got good hips, sink his pad levels low. And he plays as tall as he is, 6'5", just a massive guy, but he plays low. He don't play all high and stuff. And I like that aspect out of it. And then he can cover out in space. Not saying that we need to just go ahead and get rid of Sean Lee, but it's just remarkable to me to see the product out there on the field with Sean Lee gone, and you still have some type of LVE out there. And then shout out to Joe Thomas too, and as well as special team play. I seen those two guys out there on special team doing their thing. And guys, don't be shy of this, but number 57. Played his you-know-what out. Y'all know who number 57 is, right? Do anybody in here know who number 57 is? My God, he played one hell of a game. And he could have had an interception. That was the play that Byron Jones and him met at the same time, and they kind of bumped each other. He was going for the interception. The ball was just too high, and I think it knocked Byron Jones off for a couple plays. So Damian Wilson did a good job. Shout out to Brian Bradford. Thank you for tuning in too as well. He said Damian Wilson. Yes, number 57. Yes. Heath, this is from Jake from the Periscope. Thank you for tuning in too as well. Everyone, man, let's see if they're back yet. Let's see.
Preparation.
No, they ain't back yet. Because I can't wait to hear Brad Sham, the voice of the Cowboys. Taco did a good job too. Remember, he came into the game. What I'm going to do when I was live on the show, I was saying that we need to have a taco meter. He started off as a soft taco. Then we get a sack or a big hit or something like that. He becomes a hard taco. And then from there, he becomes a spicy taco. Then from there, he becomes a supreme taco. And then he can become a double supreme. I'm gonna have a meter going on. Taco did his deal. He did a serviceable job out there, and he was around the ball. Got him a sack, I believe, too, as well, and able to jump on the ball. And that's everything too. The ball bouncing on the ground, dive on the ball. Man, Taco did his. I'm very proud of Taco right now. I'm very happy of him. Of his skill set and his play out there on the field. Remember, he's 6'7", 6'8" too. So 6'7" ish. Big tall guy. Yes, indeed, man. Their game levels was yes. It was fantastic, man. Let me jump over to my Facebook panel, man. Thank you, everybody. Kevin Carter, Jay, man. Thank you for tuning in. Who else we got? Eric, Chris, May, Nicholas Jones, all you all, man. Y'all part of the nation over there on the Facebook side. Don't forget to hit that like button. Thank you, guys. Give me that little heart button, too, as well. Don't be shy. I love to see that heart come across the screen. Malcolm Andrews, thank you for tuning in. Got a lot of people over here, man. Thank you all for being part of the nation, man. I cherish each and every last one of y'all.
Wait a second. I'm disappointed. Waited all day long. We were in the loop. What time were we in the loop? We were 2 o'clock.
Before me.
Yes. Before Brad. And you hear about all these gifts and his Stetson hat with monogram signature.
Cobalt football.
Cobalt lifestyle. And so I'm thinking, all right, he's going to come down, Miller Lite Club.
They're at home.
He's going to have the goodies with him. I'm going to see it. Look at the hat. Because, listen, I know for a fact when the Joneses give gifts, they give gifts. He comes walking in here. I go, where's the ball? Where's the hat? He goes, the hat needs its own night. It needs to be a night for the hat.
Here's the thing. I get the hat before, I'm really hardly down on the field because of all this falderall, which was lovely, and I appreciated every bit of it. But that hat, now, that hat deserves to be walked into the stadium when you get here, and not put on just at the end, and you're not going to hardly wear it because you're inside the. But no, that hat, that deserves its own full evening. That is a serious.
So we didn't get a chance, Ari, to see the hat in person and hold the Cobalt life-size football in person. So
that one's going to be tricky, and so we'll have to have lunch someday when I can hire 4 guards to bring the ball. But I'll be able to show you the hat. I'll wear it for a home game.
But you said something that was really key when you came down to sit with us, Brad. You said the day was great and everything was great. He goes, but what made it sweet was they got to win.
They won the game.
They got to win.
There was a time when they did Ring of Honor ceremonies, and they always won. And then they had a stretch there where they always lost.
Yeah.
And can you imagine the guy going in the Ring of Honor, and it's the thrill of a lifetime, and then they lost the game?
Yeah.
It's just so... people are very nice. I appreciate every note and tweet and text and all the people stopping and saying congratulations and thank you. And then if they lose the game, then you know what the atmosphere is like.
Yeah.
And it's going to be bad enough. People are going to, I guarantee you,
man.
You'll be taking calls during the week. You'll be answering tweets during the week. All the other hosts on our flagship station, the Fan in Dallas-Fort Worth, will be. The offense is still no good. They're 3 for 10 on third down. Prescott should have hit Gathers in the end zone. They're not going to win any games if that's their off. That's what you're going to get. And they won.
We might have said that also a little bit
already. Already.
Yeah,
by the way, it doesn't mean those things
aren't
correct, but they won the game.
Yeah.
Can we start with that?
And their defense. I mean, in 2 weeks, they've given up 29 total points, and especially last week to a high-powered offense, and then again this week.
So I think that this is their formula. This is a little bit of the defense we thought we saw all summer, and I believe that this is not a fluke. And, they didn't have Randy Gregory tonight.
Yeah.
And heaven forfend, they should have Gregory and David Irving lining up next to each other.
Yep.
And then they lost Malik Collins, I don't think for a long time, but they lost him for a while, so those guys are on fumes up front. And they're just that good. And if the defense is that good, it allows the offense to play the way it wants to play instead of the way it has to play. Now, they still had a couple of critical penalties. You get a little concerned when they're down there in the field, have 2 first downs taken off the board by penalties. But they were good enough to overcome it. And mostly that was because of their defense. But the offense was efficient. when they went, don't lose sight of this.
Yes.
That 8-minute drive. Now that's at the time of the game when it took all the time off the clock. They get points at the end of the drive, and it's
the body blow.
Tripled the difficulty for the Giants.
Yes.
But you hit on something that's really, really important. And, we're celebrating today. You've been around for 40 years. It's been a long time since we've talked about the Cowboys and the strength of the team being the defense.
Sure, because they have first of all, you have Staubach and you have Aikman, and then you have Romo and you have Witten and Irvin and Bryant, and you got all these big stars. That's what, as you well know. I mean, you were a good enough athlete. You probably could have been a safety, but you chose to be a wide receiver.
I don't want to tackle anybody.
Right. And chicks love the long ball, right?
They do.
So,
They do.
So there
They
you
do.
go. And so they spent a lot of resources on offense for a long time, and when they did spend resources on defense. Sometimes it worked a little bit. Sometimes it didn't. Sometimes it was a risk. Well, so what you're seeing now is, I think this is Taco Charlton, what we've seen the first couple of weeks. Well, that's a first-round pick. We're just getting a little bit of a look at Van Der Esch. That's a first-round pick.
Yeah.
Tank Lawrence, a second-round pick. For all his problems, Randy Gregory's a second-round pick. And so they've started to spend resources on defense, and it's beginning to show up.
Brad Sham joining us on the Dallas Cowboys radio network. Offensively, Brad, I thought you hit the nail on the head. I mean, some of the numbers look almost identical to last week, but it was, their ability. They stretched the field early with Tavon, and then they closed it late with the body blows with the running back. And even though, again, the numbers will lead to people belly aching about the offense, and they left points on the board, and they didn't finish drives well. This is a vast improvement in many ways from week one, simply based on their balanced ability.
It was better.
It is.
It was better. And good enough to win tonight. Now, next week, let's see if it can be better. And if you just get a little better, you don't necessarily have to or even want to be at your peak in September.
Yes.
You want that to be in November and December. Just get better. Be good enough to win, stack them up, and get better. And I think they will.
Brad Sham, congratulations.
Thank you, Art.
40 years in the booth.
Congratulations.
The broadcast booth officially named the Brad Sham broadcast booth. A Cobalt football.
Wow.
A wonderful Stetson hat to go along with it. Congratulations, Brad.
Can you tell I'm excited about that?
You got to get a whole outfit for that too, man.
No.
You get a whole
You can't compete with that hat. That
just a hat
needs to stand out.
Okay, I got you.
A hat that Tom Landry would wear.
Yeah.
The hell he would. It's got my name in it.
Brad Sham, we'll talk to you next week.
All right,
Thanks.
guys. Have a good week.
Brad Sham joining us on the Dallas Cowboys postgame show. And let's also now welcome in Mickey Spagnola as we switch off the headsets over here. Mickey Spagnola, DallasCowboys.com. And
How you know? Go on, Mickey.
Mickey, your article.
Were you there?
When Dak is pressured, he hasn't been very good, like most quarterbacks in the National Football League. 0 sacks tonight on Dak. I don't know what the official quarterback hurry or pressured count will be, but as you wrote about before the game at DallasCowboys.com, when he's got time in a clean pocket, this is a different offense.
And he's not behind the change and the chains. It makes a difference when you're not facing 2nd and 17 and 3rd and 26. And so they did a much better job, I thought, of protecting him. They came up with some different runs, I think, to take advantage of what the Giants were trying to do, bringing Landon Collins down in the box. Caught him a couple times blitzing from one side, and they went out the other side. So I just thought they executed better, and it was an improvement. Is it great? No. If you talk to Jason Garrett after the game, it's like, we're not even close. We got to keep getting better. But the bottom line is you did what you needed to do to win. You started strong offensively with the 64-yard touchdown pass to Tavon Austin. So, yes, Tavon can get deep, and, yes, Dak can throw a deep ball. And then they finished strong at the end with an 82-yard drive that took 8 minutes off the clock. Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
When you go up 3 scores like that, then the defense can back off and say, okay, we're not giving up any big plays. And that's the only point when the Giants scored like their 10 of their 13 points. So all in all, I thought they combined well, they played well, they protected well, and it was better. I don't think that they're a finished product, but I think that you know, the lesson is in the NFL, things change every 7 days. You can't draw conclusions after the first game, and you certainly can't draw them after the second game. You don't need to be jumping off the roof. This team has talent, and as I said, you know, all during the week, you're going to see them grow before your very eyes. And I think you saw a little bit tonight. I thought Connor Williams was better. We were worried about Snacks dominating the game. Well, he stuffed some runs up in the middle, but Zeke kept hitting in there. And if you wanted to play strong in the middle, I might not give it to him, and I'll keep it myself, Dak Prescott.
Yes.
And showed another dimension. So I think a couple things that they did in this game will give Seattle some pause. It's like, is he going to run against us? Are they going to throw deep? And they're going to have to take that into account.
Well, Mickey, in this game, we saw some guys come off the field, and Sean Lee, which is, he said it was a hamstring. At the end of the game, you had Jeff Heath kind of limp off the field. So there were a couple guys who left this game. Are there any notable information that you may have on any of those guys?
Heath came back. He was able to come back, and if you noticed, Sean Lee came back for that onside. It's like, this ain't happening again, right? I'm coming out here to take care of this. And then they tried to kick it a little differently. I don't know how serious the ham was. I saw him. He was running up and down the sideline trying to prove to the coaches that I can go in and play. I think they were thinking, you know what, we got a 17-point cushion. Let's just play it smart and see if we can get by without putting him back in there. DeMarcus Lawrence, he went off for an IV because I saw him run off, and I saw the doctors running too, and I said, okay, this is what they're getting ready to do. And then he came running back, and they finally gave him his helmet. He went out there and resumed playing. And then I think when it got down close to the end, it's like, okay, we're going to salt this clock away. Let's not put him in there. Malik Collins, I didn't get a good update on him. He went off. It looked like he had a little bit of a leg deal going on. So we'll see where that one goes. Other than that, I think they kind of got through it. Certainly got through it better than the Giants, who may have lost their center.
Yeah.
Wow.
When you cart a guy off like that.
You bring the air cast out in the cart,
right?
Doesn't look good.
And then you go, well, yeah, he went in to get extra. Yeah, well, okay, but he's not coming back. And then in the press box, they finally said he was out. It's like, oh, yeah, thanks a lot. So, yeah, I think they got through it okay, it appears. And, maybe you get Randy Gregory back. And, it never fails. When you go short at a position, like they only had 7 defensive linemen up, that's where you're going to get an injury, right, or something's going to happen. You just can't shortchange yourself like that. But you just kind of ran out of bodies, though, from that standpoint. So if you notice, they were mixing things in. Daniel Ross was going in the inside. They even had DeMarcus Lawrence playing inside a couple snaps and have Taco and Armstrong on the outside to kind of give the inside guys. I'll tell you what, who did a yeoman's job was Tyrone Crawford playing inside that whole game. And I didn't see him come out much at all. So he played a lot of snaps. The safeties, once again, played a heck of a lot of snaps. And I thought the combination of the pressure they put on them and the single coverage, those corners hung in there, right?
They did.
So from a defensive standpoint, maybe we're starting to see a trend. The offense still got a ways to go, but at least the protection was a lot better. And they couldn't get Dak to say it out there, right? When it's like, should have said, challenge met, right? He kind of backed off from that.
Got to see him again.
Yeah, I mean,
Dak's
you said
smart.
it, Mick. 4 receptions, 51 yards for Odell Beckham Jr. This is now 5 straight games where Beckham has 4 catches in every game except for one that he has 5. Now 9 sacks for the defensive line in 2 games, 6 tonight.
Yeah.
DeMarcus Lawrence has 2 of those 9 on the season, but I mean, who's standing out for you aside from a guy like Tank?
Yeah, I just thought that their ability to get Taco to play the way he has, which is another thing. 1 year and everybody jumps to the conclusion, he's a bust. He can't play. Well, he needed to get stronger and he needed to play more football. He started 1 year in college, and I think you're starting to see some things from him. And then because of that, And if they can get Randy Gregory back on the field, moving Tyrone Crawford, I thought, inside was huge with David Irving missing. You got a guy that can play the 3 technique and cause some problems in there. And he got 1 sack, but he caused some problems to help other guys get sacks. So
he did.
I thought that was good. And Awuzie continues to play awfully well. Byron Jones, they didn't give up anything big. But again, when I was asked Thursday or Friday, how do you cover Odell Beckham Jr.? You put pressure on Eli Manning. And that was kind of the formula in this game.
Mick, I just see a level of confidence from these guys on defense that it hadn't been here before.
Yeah.
And I remember saying this early in the year. I got a chance to sit and talk with Chris Richard. I was in the Cowboys, and I was visiting with Brian Wansley, and he introduced me to Chris Richard, and I got a chance to talk to him for about 15, 20 minutes. And it was something, and you know this, Mick, when you can meet a person and that energy and that leadership, it just...
You're ready to play for him.
Yeah.
Right. It oozes out of him.
Off of you. I see that in this team defensively. You see guys they're walking around here with a different bounce to their step. If you can just talk about it briefly, just what he has done for this defense as a whole.
Yeah, and I think he has. He has instilled confidence in guys that I'm not sure they had confidence in themselves.
Anthony Brown.
Kayvon Frazier. We haven't seen him play like this, right? And I think he instilled some confidence in him. I think Jeff Heath always had it. Yeah. Byron Jones, I'm not sure he ever knew what he was, right? Am I a corner? Am I safety?
That's right,
and
Eric.
He's got him
Griffin.
playing awfully well. Now, Awuzie, I think, could take care of himself because I think he was a pretty confident guy. But I think it is kind of spilled over to the rest of the defense, and they're playing more aggressively. And you're right. Before, it was a defense that kind of tiptoed along. And they ended up giving up some hollow yards at the end. But they had shut them down. They didn't even, I wrote it down, they didn't even have 100 yards at halftime. And most of the stuff, the damage they did was throwing underneath the Saquon Barkley, and boy, is he good too, right?
Saquon.
There was a lot of times the first guy didn't tackle him, right? But if that's your whole offense, at some point, you got to be able to throw the ball downfield. And the one touchdown they gave up, it was a busted coverage. Somebody was supposed to go with the tight end, right? It was either Kayvon or Jalen Smith, right? One of those guys needed to go with him. But other than that, I mean, they played sound. They didn't have a lot of busts, and even when they were giving up yards at the end, it was like, okay, you can have all that stuff underneath. Go ahead and eat up the clock, but we're not going to let you get in over the top. And they a couple times got some deep passes, and they were covered. So maybe we got a trend on defense. We'll see on offense. It's still, I think, a work in progress.
On Twitter at Spags52, Mickey Spagnola, DallasCowboys.com. Always appreciate you spending some time with us on the
Sure,
show.
You guys have a good rest of the evening.
You too, buddy.
We'll do our best.
Mickey Spagnola joining us in the Dallas Cowboys postgame show. The Cowboys win 20-13. Your fantasy football update brought to you by Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more.
All right, guys. So with that being said, man, we're approaching an hour. We're going to really tune into some more stuff. I'm just going to give you guys my final thoughts, my final words on everything. And a quick shout out to everybody that's here. Don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe to this page. Kevin Martin, thank you for tuning in. Sean Hall, Eric Griffin, I saw you earlier regulated down in the chat box. Appreciate you. Dante, how you say your last name? Scorpio, thank you for tuning in too as well. Hey, I'm jumping over to the Facebook panel. Thank you all for being part of the mix. Eric, you are always welcome. Kerry Teagle, just official, man. You're just official, always in the mix. And also Charles Edward Morris. What is this? The third? Not the first, not the second. Appreciate you for tuning in too as well. Shout out to you all, family, your whole family, and thank everybody for being part of the nation. Don't forget to donate to the Red Cross. We know that we had a devastating storm to hit the East Coast. For those who are following the nation from on that side of the world, please help someone out. Give them a bottle of water. Donate. Every small penny counts. Don't believe it. If you don't believe it, just donate and watch how those things trickle down the line. I always say, positive mind If you want a thing bad enough to go out and fight for it, to work day and night for it, to give up your time and your peace and your sleep for it, if all your desires of it makes you quite mad enough that you don't get tired of it, and it makes you hold all other things tawdry and cheap for it, if life itself seems empty and useless without it, and all that you scheme and dream is about it, if you'll gladly go out and sweat for it, fret for it, plan for it, and lose all terror of God or man for it, if you'll simply go after the thing you want with all of your capacity, strength and scarcity, with faith, hope, and confidence and stern pertinacity, if neither cold, poverty, or famish, or fame, or sickness of body or brain can turn you away from the thing you want, if dogged and grim and besieged and beset it with the help of Almighty God, you guys will get it. This nation will get it. All we have to do is put our minds and our hearts and our soul together, and this thing will happen. I said that, hey, if we can continue to clap this thing out, positive things will come this way. All we have to do is just take 1 week at a time, one game at a time. It recalls to my mind that the Redskins last week, everybody thought that they're going to go 16-0. They're going to win the Super Bowl and things like that. But now we're looking at the Redskins, right? Those who've been following football and studying football know that week 1 is just week 1. A lot of teams don't play all their players. There's things called continuity. I recall and I remind some of my friends and some of my people that's around here about the Lions. Lions went 6-0 at one point. Everybody was saying, okay, this team finna go 16-0. And they lost every game since then, and it was like 6-10. So this team right here, I don't know about you, but I know about me. I don't know about you all, but I'm saying that right now, we don't have anything to do with this team. We can just root for the team, right? But there's something about the team, the small things that they did to improve. They did better on the defense. Although Eli was able to get that one touchdown, we know that was from a blown play. And also that long play that was on Cheeto, number 12. I'm telling you, Eli closed his eyes and threw the ball. And it so happened to hit that guy in his hand. It was just about this close. Close but no cigar. But it is what it is, guys. This is the thing. We will find ways to get Ezekiel Elliott legs back on his feet. You know what I'm saying? Because it seemed like he was slipping and this sort of thing. But I told everyone that Ezekiel Elliott, he's a slow starter. And then once everything started going through, he will pick that pace up, guys. Yes, indeed, Sean. God bless. Yeah, God bless all you all. Thank you all for tuning in. Let's keep fighting. And don't forget, not just keep fighting. Finish the fight. Start the fight, and let's get this thing going one way or another. Hey, I got a podcast. It's LAW Nation, as well as I'm on YouTube. Just type in Law Nation. I saw somebody say how you can find me on YouTube. Just type in LAW Nation, and you will find either my logo or my face, and you will see that. Anywhere in Google, you type in Law Nation, you will see me one way or another. That's all the time I have for right now. I really thank you all for yours. And remember, you all are listening to Nothing But the Best. I can't wait to do this film breakdown. Whew. Let's jam on out to some music, though. Let's get this thing going for everyone. Let's see what we got. What we got in the bag of tricks. There we go. Let's go. Okay. Yeah. Let's start from the beginning. Yeah. Yeah. Eagles look basic, yeah. What I'm talking about. Let that power ranking come out now, yeah. To the channel, man. Hit that like button. Smash that like button, baby. Cowboys Nation all day. DC for life. Yeah. Nation, baby. Yeah. 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 DC for life. Yeah.